Welcome to another episode of the West End Zone podcast. Nick Echeverria here, aka West End Zone. We have a super special guest for you guys. We are continuing the summer coach series. Today we have on a guy by the name of Jordan Esteban, was most recently the defensive backs coach at Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. He's got a great story. Went to Belen Jesuit High School. I had the privilege of coaching him for a few years of his high school experience. He went off to go play Division III football, and then he went to law school. Right, just like me. We shared that, and during his time in Washington D.C., he was working for the DOJ, doing super cool stuff up there. He ended up starting to coach and had some great experiences, some great insight, and some great stories about coaching itself, about what it takes to be successful, what it takes to deal with hardship, and just all the things that football gives you. It's got a great story, and I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video when you can. Thank you. I coached you, like 2009 to 11, maybe?
Yep. Yeah. 9, 10, 11.
So you're maybe one of your JV seasons?
Yep. My sophomore JV year and then 2 years on varsity.
Okay. So, coaching at Belen, you kind of come across like different sorts of like personalities and kind of like different, I'll call them like character types. Like, the kids are the same, but the names change, right? And we we had always saw you as like kind of the kid that like we could trust to understand the game plan and to just like put it in for us, like on the fields, run the game plan, like check the coverage, make all the front checks, do all the stuff that you had to do as a boundary safety. In the 4-2-5 that we had back then. It was a 2 quarterback system, and obviously, most of the time, you were the guy to the away side. So so you were calling your own coverages, and then you were also the guy that was like that's you on the field. And I had Eddie on the podcast 2 weeks ago. Last week I had Mario. We addressed like winning culture and like what it takes systematically, yes, and scheme wise, whatever, and then also like what it takes in terms of like who you have, like who is making up your team, who is leading your team, and the types of kids that we spoke about, like the like sort of bad apples, right, and like getting rid of those sorts of guys. The opposite of that is like the kind of guy that will like lift up the team and like be the example. When you're not watching, because football we get like 10 games a year, and there's a whole off season of struggle and working out and showing up and being consistent, and like, and you were one of those guys, and so I I'm gonna share one photo with you. Oh no, I messed it up. All right, hold on. All right, that was that was us. That was us.
With the Fab Five sign.
Yes.
Fab Five.
That's a
It was
photo
our take on the Fab Five.
from 2000. I think this photo was from like 2012 or
That was
11 or
12.
something.
Yeah, that was at our like end of the year picnic or whatever.
Yes.
Something like that.
And so I see you then, right? That's a Jordan I know, right? And then you go away. You go off to become a man, so to speak, and then like come back and you're like someone of your age, super confident. You just pulled up in a fucking Porsche, and and it's like it's funny, like we talked with Eddie also, like the skills that you learn in summer workouts, like the weight doesn't lie, like like if you're honest and you show up, like that shit's gonna work. Like consistency is like a huge asset. Uh, Add accountability on that stuff, and you very obviously kept that going. Probably with some good fortune. So, you know, I want to hear like some of like, you know, what was that something that was always in you, or is that like something that you learned from sports, from family? You know, I know that you have two other brothers that was in this with you too. So, tell me some more about that.
Yeah, it's funny you asked me, where that comes from and how that started. And to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to answer because when I really think about it, I think I was really lucky to be part of a group of guys who just all really cared. So it was kind of easy to come together and rally around each other and work hard from day one. Because again, I think we were just really lucky to be surrounded by a group who was obviously talented, but we cared a lot, and so we disciplined each other, disciplined ourselves, and we policed ourselves. I remember, we might have had maybe one or two meetings with Stu yelling at us and getting mad and telling us like, you guys are here to police your own team. I remember Hochi Smith beating the crap out of somebody at summer workouts who didn't respect what he was trying to implement. And he was respectful, but it got to a point where, he was disrespected, and we had a goal in mind.
Of course.
And
of course.
And nobody within our circle or without our circle was going to stop us from doing that. And so, I gotta just kind of give it to the group, right? Who allowed me to kind of learn within that circle how important discipline is, how important hard work is, and like you said, consistency, just showing up every day, and leading within the team. Player-led teams. Mentioned briefly that I coached in DC, and something I tried to impart on the kids there was the best teams overall in history are player-led teams. They're not teams where the coaching staff or professional sports is the front office is here.
Right.
Getting on guys' asses. At the end of the day, it's the team, the players policing themselves and holding each other accountable. I'm sure you remember people would come late to practice. They wouldn't even join our huddle. They were taking 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, look, I saw it also. I saw it also with your brother, right? And that state championship season, you were so sophomore, I think.
Yeah, sophomore.
And that season was I think we were talented. I think we overachieved. And we kind of joked. We gave your brother the nickname Captain Charisma, right? Because like he was the guy that was always super vocal and kind of getting like in people's faces, and it's funny, like that team was like probably more fractured than like 2011. 2011 was like the most tight knit group that I've ever seen, especially with the injuries we had, right? Like 2009, they pretty much all stayed healthy. 2011, we had a bunch of like studs out, like Frankie was out, like
Monty got hurt.
We lost Horner like week 1, and he was like a Division 1 guy, and I saw like I think it started then, and then we had consistent winning, and then sort of the kids that were younger took up the torch. A guy like Coachy's like that's another guy that you see, kind of like you, right? Like was a consistent sort of rock type of guy, and then goes on to a private life, and is definitely making it there. So what's some of the stuff that like brought you, first like to coaching? I know that you coached your 1L year, and I know that you played Division 3 ball, right?
Yep.
At Case Western, right? So tell me why you kept going, right? Because like playing D3 ball is not like that you're getting like a scholarship, like a D1 player and getting all this stuff, like you go to play ball because you love it, and yeah, there is some, scholarship benefits and like things like that, but it's nothing like Division One. And then tell me also like what like sort of made you keep going.
I think there's kind of two things. One, having played football my whole life, I loved it, right? I was really passionate about it, and I just after my senior year, I kind of felt like we fell short, in that moment, right? And I look back at it now and I feel completely different about it. But in that moment, I kind of felt like we didn't accomplish what we worked so hard to accomplish, what we set out to accomplish. Obviously, in hindsight,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get there. But
So I'll say this, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, it's cool.
Is nobody thought we would get as far as we got, by the way.
We did, though. We thought we'd get further, is what I'm saying.
Right, yeah, like, which is kind of funny, which kind of like paints the picture
Right.
that, like, we've been trying to paint,
Yeah. I mean, and I think that maybe not always, but at least, I can say confidently with our class, like, we definitely always expected more than people expected of us. And we held ourselves to that standard, and I think that's why we're so successful, and we turned a lot of heads and we surprised a lot of people. But like, it was never a surprise to us, right? I mean,
Right.
We always went into every game, expecting to win. We worked for it, we prepared like it, and so just kind of leading up to that, I feel, junior, senior year of high school, I still felt like there was some empty space there that I wanted to accomplish something, and I really did, like, I really enjoyed football.
Yeah.
And Case kind of just gave me a really good kind of combo of the three things I was looking for. Football, good football program, good academics, and I was getting out of Miami.
Yeah, it's super important to get out of Miami.
So
if you're from here, like, leave for like 10 minutes, like, for like, like it's for the first time, leave and come back. Like it's worth it.
Yeah, so it just made sense. I mean, I was going over there with two of my best friends, Julio Ayala, shout out Tuna, Danny Admire, shout out Admire. And our guy Manny Seeker was up there crushing it as a freshman, freshman all conference. I was like, let's go to Cleveland,
Legends,
Ohio.
bro. Just a bunch of legends in Cleveland, Ohio, over the Cuban legends.
Back we were all much beefier back then than we are now. So yeah, man, I felt like there was still more to accomplish, and I just really enjoyed football. I was excited about playing. It's D3, right? And you play a big regional schedule, but you're still playing on a national stage, which was intriguing to me. And I figured, look, this is my last opportunity to put on some pads and a helmet.
Of course.
If I hated it, I can leave. I can stop playing.
Just go try. Like, just say go, and
it made sense. Sure. You know what I mean? So, but it was fun, man. It was fun. It was different, but it was fun. So I mean, that's college, and if you want me to get into coaching.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I'll let for me, like I got into coaching, kind of like, I'm not making it short. Like, my uncle passed away in 2008, and his two sons were at Belen playing football, Danny Garrigo and Gabby Garrigo. Mm-hmm. And I figured, hey, I'm gonna be on the staff, and I'll just be around them. Like, they just lost their dad, I'm gonna be around them, and that's all I thought. And then I got into it, and I got like hooked. I got sucked in. Tell me what what got you into it.
I laugh because I had a very similar experience in DC. With Belen, I'll be honest with you, my little brother Danny was I think a sophomore or a junior, and he was just begging me. He was like, "Please, come on! Like, Chris coached you. You gotta coach me now." I'm like, "Dude, I'm my first semester of law school. There's no way." And he begged, and I'm like, "All right, you know what? Fine. We'll go do it." So, but in DC, I go up there. I don't really know anybody. I was working from home. COVID. It was still kind of lingering COVID times. And I finished my work day, and I had nothing to do. I had nothing to do, and so it was a Friday. I was actually going to meet my buddy at happy hour, another fellow Belen kid. I can't even remember where it was, honestly.
Cause I like I kind of know the area. I mean, like I probably
I can't
would
remember where it was.
I'd probably remember more if I started drinking, but
I can't even remember, but I went to be, Machu Marrero.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy also. But and I'm walking over there, and I run into this school. It's a beautiful school, really nice building, beautiful stadium. I'm like, look around. I'm like, man, like, you know what? Like, I got a lot of time on my hands. I wonder if these guys I wonder if they're any good. 'Cause I'll be honest.
yeah,
with you,
man,
I wanted to be somewhere where the kids and the staff is gonna take football seriously.
it gives you back some. Yeah.
Yeah, like no, if I'm gonna be, I've said this to them, all the kids, the coaches. I'm like, if I'm gonna be giving my time,
Yeah.
sacrificing my time as well, I want to be somewhere where it's worthwhile and it's not just gonna be kind of a joke of a program.
Right.
And I see that they had won the DC championship the prior year, and I was
Nice.
like, okay, all
Okay,
right. I'm
let's
like,
go.
I look them up on. I had looked them up on Max Preps. They got the head coach's name there, Maurice Vaughn, Coach Bink, goes by Coach Bink. And I could find Coach Bink on Instagram. Shot him a DM. The old heads don't know how to use Instagram, so I was like locked in the requested inbox purgatory.
You're like, damn it.
I'm like, this guy's not gonna answer.
Like he
Never gonna
probably doesn't
read
know
it.
how to get there.
Right. He
Yeah.
doesn't even know it exists.
Yes.
But luckily, like a few days later, he posted something like a registration flyer with his cell phone number on it. I just called him up.
Nice.
Cold call. Introduced myself.
Cold call. Yeah.
And,
Sales, baby.
So yeah, sales. He told me to meet me at the school. If you want to talk a little more. I met him and we started with the team a few weeks later. Let me tell you, man, one of the most valuable experiences that I've had to date, man. It's pretty crazy. So
why? Tell me why. Tell me, like, give me like I mean, kind of getting back into coaching. Did you like doubt yourself? Say like, hey, like, do I even remember half the shit that I know what to do? Like, I'm gonna have to like watch YouTube videos and like figure out how to do drills and stuff. What coverage I don't know what coverages we're running. Like, what footwork do I use for this? Like,
funny you mentioned that because at one point I ended up hitting up Chris Garcia, who was coaching the DBs for the Washington
the
Commanders,
Redskins, for the Redskins,
right?
Oh yeah,
Commanders, whatever you want to call them, right? And it's funny. The former DB is asking the former defensive end to send him hey, can you send me some DB drills that you do with your guys, right?
Yes.
So we talked a little bit and he showed me a few drills that he does. But yeah, no, I certainly at a certain point I was like, man, like, what kind of drills do we do? Like, what were the coverages again?
So I have a book on my computer that I can give you of all the ones that we did.
I remember like blue out, green out.
Like
I don't even remember honestly, but no, I did actually had to refresh kind of myself on like technique, alignment, things like that.
The alignment's huge, by the way.
The alignment's huge.
It's huge. Like people don't realize like that can completely screw up a play. Like if you're not it's like bigger than I think people think.
I would tell my guys because at that age kids they think your little drills are just a way. Oh, we're just doing this to waste time. No, there's a purpose for everything we do.
Yeah.
Which on that end, any drill we did, start off with why are we doing this, right? Why are we doing this? Here's how it's gonna work in a game, right?
Yeah, like this is this drill works for this technique in this coverage.
Correct.
And correct. They know exactly why.
We're working on our alignment and which foot we have forward and which one we have back. Why? All right, where's your drop? Where's your drop starting? All right, if you don't have that foot back, now you have this wasted movement. That receiver, let's say he has no wasted movement. Now he's already got a step and a half on you. Say you're behind the 8 ball.
Right.
So as far as that stuff's concerned, I would always tell them, and if they're probably not gonna watch this, but if they do, they can't dispute this. I would tell them, if you mess up your alignment, you mess up your first step out, now you're two steps behind the offense. Right? You didn't watch film, you don't know what, formation they're in, now you're 4 steps behind them. And now you're in some trouble. Whereas, if all those things are second nature, if your feet are right, if your alignment's right, if you're reading the formation, and seeing certain tendencies, like, chances are the other kid isn't doing everything perfect. Right, and now you're 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of them.
Right.
That's where you end up making plays. But I think your question was kind of what made my coaching experience so worthwhile. And honestly, I think the biggest thing is, especially when you coach a few years in a row, is really watching these kids grow up from
Yeah.
boys to
Yeah.
young men and graduating and
Right.
going off and to get an education and just really move their lives along in a positive way. I think for me that was the biggest thing, seeing kids getting frustrated, seeing them not being able to do a proper weave, not break a certain way, not understand a certain coverage or concept, and then within 5, 6, 7 weeks, or sometimes a year and a half,
Yep.
it's clicking. They're
Yep.
making plays, they're more confident. That's just
Yes.
that's something when you see a kid get so much more confident,
Yeah.
in his play, and therefore honestly in his life, this football's all, you love football when that's all life is in high school, right? Like
Yes.
football, girls, school, whatever, but
Right.
so seeing
Yeah.
that development and that progress, I think was the biggest thing for me. Is, and it's not even it's not about me. It's seeing that just made me real happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's I could not agree more. That concept of seeing someone come in, like not being sure of themselves, like they want to play, but they don't understand the system. They're maybe they're like a little bit smaller. They haven't been in the weight room yet, and then seeing them, after 2 or 3 years, like, they fight and they work for it. They listen to you. They want to be helped, and they allow themselves to be helped, and it's like a miracle, right? Like, it's, I don't know, like, to me it's like, that applies, like, they were talking about, about law and all that stuff, and I see it too, like, in kids that have been around, like, like in the law firm, right? Like, the kid comes in with like no experience, doesn't know anything, like he has his first hearing, and you try to like explain anything to him and like kind of get him ready, and he's nervous, and then he like fucks it all up. But he learns, keeps doing it, and then like, are you reading, like his first motion that he writes? I'm like this is the worst summary judgment that I've ever read in my life. It makes no sense. And then like in like 3 years, you're like, damn, dude, this is kind of fire. Like, like I think this is good. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
And then obviously, the relationships you build with these kids. You're. I mean, I remember, when you were my coach, you were a mentor for us. You know what I mean? And even beyond just football stuff, and being able to be a resource for these younger kids who sometimes, some don't have proper guidance, and they're just young and dumb. So it's good to be a resource for them, and know that they can trust you, right? That they know you're reliable, and you're someone they can turn to is always something that has a positive effect.
So like, what kind of coverages were you guys running? I mean, like, because I know that like we ran a ton of quarters. It was like quarters, based everything, and it was like no man coverage. We didn't do any man coverage ever. Like, it was like maybe cover zero, maybe like I was like once every 3 games.
Listen, whenever Coach Eddie called man coverage,
it was like, oh shit. Huge
I'm
cushion.
I'm gonna take 15 yards, and you're gonna catch that 7-yard hit.
Right.
It was funny at Dunbar.
Yeah.
99% man. Coach Greg, you drove me crazy with that sometimes, man. but we had the guys to do it.
Right.
We had the guys to do it, right? So
yes.
to get up in your face and play lock, play lock. At Belen, I don't think we had the guys to do that. We had to run more zone, and it worked for us, right? And man, I mean, at Dunbar, it worked for us too.
Yeah, man.
So.
Man also works like better like at certain fronts and stuff. I mean,
right. Bring pressure, you can go man, right? Like you're bringing a 6-man pressure, 7-man pressure, like you can go man.
And it makes stopping the run simple, because like if you run cover 1, you're just always gonna have one extra in the box,
right?
And solves that whole thing. But cool.
Nice. So yeah, we kept it very, very basic. Man, cover 3, cover 4, rarely cover 4. Long down in distance.
Like cover 4, like as in like true cover, like not quarters, like not pattern matching, like you're dropping to like a deep quarter.
it wasn't like the robber four that we ran.
Right.
It wasn't the robber four that we. I like the robber four. I think it makes it easy. You know, you have pretty strict rules that like this guy presses seven,
If
he's
then,
yours, take
yeah.
him.
Right.
But no, I mean, we just did it so rarely and in just certain situations that it was like everybody drop four, drop the linebackers out into curl the flat.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just don't get beat. So.
Yeah, I mean that type of cover four is definitely useful for people that want to scheme up quarters.
Yeah.
And like kind of like run weird cover four beaters. You know, I think it's useful.
Right.
But I think it should be in the playbook. But I don't want to get too far into that type of stuff. But so you coached there for what, like 3 years?
3 years, yeah, 3 seasons.
3 seasons, and did you coach anybody that maybe the average fan might know about that went to like a big school?
No, not really, man. And we had some talented guys, but now with open transfer rules, things like that, and kids are transferring left and right. Although I will say, I think I coached 2 of the most talented football players I've seen live, high school football players. Not named Frankie Hernandez.
Right.
But
Frankie
one kid named Daquan Harvin, great guy, great student athlete. He's playing ball at Virginia State now. Just transferred from Morgan State, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I'll send you a few highlights of his senior year, and just man amongst children. It was impressive. And another kid who sadly transferred out and beat us in our state championship this year, Mikey Brown, call him HD. HD. There's a story to that. I can't remember where HD comes from, but
it's still a good nickname. I don't know what it means, but it's a good nickname.
Yeah. I forgot what HD. I forgot what it had something to do with football.
Gotcha.
I just can't remember what the analogy was, but that kid was absolute stud. He'll be playing at where's he going? School. It's a DC school. I can't remember right now. But
he's still in high school.
He just graduated last week.
I gotcha.
Kid's an absolute stud. So Mikey, stay on track. Always told you do great things. I think he's going to Howard.
Okay, Howard. Yeah, that's like right next to Catholic where I was.
Yeah. So he'll be playing there. So, but yeah, no, I mean nobody nationally known, but like I said, the transfer thing kind of makes it difficult.
Right.
And now, I mean, now with the transfer portal stuff, high school recruiting has gotten difficult for high school kids.
Yeah, I mean the FHSAA just passed a rule now. Yeah. Now kids can sign NIL deals while they're still in high school,
and the schools can't pay.
Okay.
Just like the colleges can't pay kids.
Yeah, but I'm a member of Kane's Connection, and it's
right. Exactly.
And it's like associated with the school.
Exactly. So I mean, I thought about it, and it kind of sucks because the schools like Aquinas, Heritage, Columbus, although obviously Columbus has been doing really, really good things the last several years, but I mean those schools are just. I don't
think it's gonna be any different. It's been happening. No? It's been happening, right? Like it's like there's no
paying kids, like straight paying kids.
Yeah. I think it's already been happening. Like now it's just gonna be like a little bit easier.
A little bit easier.
You know what I mean?
True. I mean, I guess that's what happened in college. Everybody knows college kids are getting paid for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
even
like
the playing field, I guess.
There's like a whole conversation to be had about Alabama and Mark Emmert and like how the SEC was basically they look the other way and let them do whatever they want, and for Miami they're under a freaking microscope. So and now the turntables have turned.
How the turntables turned.
Exactly.
I hope, man. I hope the Canes can finally, it's breaking my heart year in year out, man.
So look, so you go to you live in DC, working for the DOJ.
Yep.
Super fancy stuff. You're practicing in federal court.
Yep.
And then you end up coming back home. So you came back home in December, you said?
Yeah. That's what, 6 months ago. Wow.
I work in private practice. How are you gonna like stay involved in football? I mean, like, because the itch is gonna come back, and in private practice,
It's tough.
you got a bill.
Yeah. No, it's tough. You know, it's tough. I honestly, to be honest with you, I've kind of just accepted the fact that my football experience is going to be watching football.
I'm back to being a
fantasy
fan.
football, right? You know, at least for now.
Can I make a suggestion?
Let me hear it, yeah.
Start a podcast, bro.
There we go. Maybe let me co-host at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get this thing going.
Yeah, they'll do like like a stream every Saturday, and we'll just like, talk about college football games or whatever. But
Yeah. You know, I've actually thought about a podcast, but so this is a great idea. You know.
Yeah,
I like this idea.
Yeah, like I have like the speech issues that I've always had, and my wife is like, start a podcast and like, get used to speaking, and like I picked a career that I have to speak.
Right.
So like it's more of like managing it for me. Where like as long as I'm like keeping it managed, I'm good. In court, it actually works kind of nice. Like in front of a jury, where like I'll tell the jury, I'm like, hey, look, like if you guys haven't noticed, I have a speech impediment, and I kind of like explain it to them.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm done with the explanation, they're like, wow, this lawyer's like a real person. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
nice.
didn't really think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to argue like say like motions in limine, which for the average person, like motions in limine are like pre-trial motions where you set the rules of the trial. It's like
evidentiary,
Yeah, or
motions
like
to exclude evidence or
yeah, or like something that's like very technical, and where like I'm studying case law and stuff, and I'm like I'm not that good at that. Like I can have another lawyer do it, you know,
yeah.
and then I can like deal with speaking to the witnesses and like giving like the opening statement, like shit like that. Like that's how I foresee it for me. Like kind of the way I could best perform or whatever. But
yeah. That's good that you just kind of address it head on right at the outset. I'm sure it makes you more comfortable too. It's like
yes,
yeah, these people aren't thinking
They're
anything they already know.
they're
Most of
like,
the
yo,
time.
is like, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Nice, bro.
podcast. Great idea. I've thought about it. I didn't even think about bringing on, like high school coaches, things like that. So I just feel like there's so many podcasts out there. You know
yes,
what I mean?
there's.
You gotta be able to like keep people engaged, and you never know, man.
Yeah.
Nice little South Florida high school football podcast.
Yeah, I mean, look, like it. I think about it all the time, and like, no disrespect to the other people that are like that have been in the game for all these years, but I think it could be better, honestly. Like, I guess it's difficult to figure out like what the fan base is like. It's not like you're doing a podcast on the Miami Hurricanes and there's fans for the Canes like everywhere.
Right.
It's like it would be really more for like people that are super involved, like kids that are playing high school football, and like thinking about it back when you played, like it would have been cool to have that, and you're like talking to the fullback from like Archbishop McCarthy in like some random school that like no one knows, but we played him and he was super tough. You know what I mean? Like who else knows that but us?
I'm sure there's plenty of guys like that I can go back and think about. That'd be awesome. Yeah, you know what? As a matter of fact, I remember I forgot what website it was, but it was like Manny Navarro and Andre Fernandez. They had their little website back then. They would do like interviews and like locker room
South Florida
interviews.
High School Sports.com or
Was
something
it?
like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. South Florida High School Sports.com. Yeah. And they would do like interviews all the time. That could have been like a great platform for them. Larry Bluestein.
Yes.
Bluestein would always do his things.
They had just started that. Like maybe 2010.
Yeah.
And Coach Stewart was on it.
Yep.
And they would do like the little tour, and
That's right. The high school tour, like a spring tour, or
Yeah.
camp tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I'm like I'm trying to build the podcast, and like I started off like by doing like film review of like Kane stuff, or like
Mhm.
I'll pick apart different things that I see. Which, by the way, the new DC Lance Guidry, like he structures the secondary like how we used to do it, with like like a field and boundary safety, and like
Okay.
it's super cool. Like it was interesting to see, and like it kind of got me like re-engaged. Like I liked watching like his team play, and I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna get back into this shit now, because
Yeah.
like it looked right, like it looked good,
Yep.
But
I don't know why I just thought of this as I was talking to like I told you I was with De Blasi and all these guys
Yeah.
2 weekends ago, and I was talking to Suarez. Remember Christian Suarez?
of course,
linebacker?
the fucking pick six
Yeah.
against the Western, baby.
They told him, I mean, you're like that is your famous Belen, like you will never be forgotten because of that. It's funny, on brand. Chris Suarez is now a university professor. Yeah, no. The guy's a brain. He's a brain. He's a university professor, and I used to tell him, I'm like, man, I remember like I always ask you for your composition notebook, because you'd always have like all the plays drawn up, what we're doing there, and at 16 years old, this kid's literally just got a composition notebook for every game, and people used to make fun of me. I remember people would be like, oh, you're doing too much. I'm like, nah, let me see that.
You're doing too much. Oh, doing too much. Pick six against Northwestern.
Yeah.
Because he knew, like he watched every like play of their season, and like did like a flow chart, and was like, okay, when I see this split from this receiver,
Yes.
combined only with the split of this running back, and then the stance of the right tackle, I know it's gonna be an out from the slot, and he jumped out and like like shit like that, and you're like, what?
Yeah, he was saying that he remembers at one point, like in the fourth quarter, that Amari Cooper was lined up at the outside number one receiver all game long, every single play. And then he says, like, all of a sudden they motioned him into slot. And he said, he was like, nah. Nope. He's like, I went
throwing it to him.
He's like, I went and I played press man on him. And he said that he just like threw his hands up, was like, he's like, dude, I was like, I'm abandoning my assignment. Like, I'm coming over here to play press man.
Like his mild form of autism like kicked in, but he was like, wait, something's wrong.
Let me tell you, man, it was impressive though. But you know what? Like, that's how our teams were. Like we were just always steps ahead of guys.
We had good game plans, dude.
Yeah, and we executed it. You know what?
Yes.
I'll never forget American Heritage, Sony Michel. Our game plan was basically, 11 hats to the ball. 11 hats to the ball.
Yeah.
That guy couldn't do a damn thing. Every play they gave him the ball, he had 8 guys on him.
It was like make them
Swarming
throw,
him.
make them throw, make them throw on third and long, and then they would throw on third and long, and then we got a pick six to Frankie.
Yeah.
Right? Like we crushed them.
I will say Sony Michel as a 15-year-old gave me the meanest stiff arm,
Bro.
in the A gap. It made me squeal. I went like, and then that was the one run he had that he scored, and he did nothing else the rest of the game. That guy hit me just boom, just quick.
Yeah. And then the Northwestern game, like I feel like we had like a great game plan. There was some tendency that we caught, and like we were always in the right coverage, and we were always in the right blitz. And then first half, like it just doesn't like it wasn't really like bad things kept happening, kind of like unfortunate things. Then we knew that we were okay, and we're like, just stick with the game plan. We executed it, and I don't think they scored in the second half. Or
No, they didn't.
They scored. They picked up a fumble for a touchdown.
Yeah, the opening kickoff.
Yeah.
Muffed.
Yes. We're like
28-7. That was great.
And then that Columbus game that was back and forth.
Yeah.
We had an awesome game plan. It was like based off of all their personnel groupings.
Yep.
And I remember being on the board for like Saturdays, or like there was like a Saturday practice we had or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was there was like a holiday that we were there like at Belen all day, and we were like went through everything on the board, and we executed it perfectly. And then Frankie got hurt.
Yep.
And then it was like, okay, we're done.
I mean, the game turned there.
Yeah.
The game turned there. I mean, he was the eraser, man. The eraser. And he was playing offense too.
He was
He's playing offense too.
so look so just like full blown man crush here. This gentleman to the right, this very super ugly gentleman right here.
Come to my dog like that.
He is the eraser, aka man crush, aka best player in school history. Just an absolute monster. Like I wish I had 11 of him playing defense.
10, come on, give me a spot.
10. One and then have Jordan to the boundary just to make sure we're always in the right coverage. And giving massive cushion when you know he has to give massive cushion.
Yeah, come on.
And like look, like there were times where like, look, man, like a number so and so is like pretty fast. So if you're to the boundary playing quarters, maybe don't stand at 9. Stand maybe like at 15.
I'm not an idiot. Mari Cooper gets in the slot. I'm not gonna be an idiot and think I'm gonna lock this guy down, at 8 yards. No, I'll give myself a few more steps.
Yes.
No, man. It's kind of crazy to me. When I think of people who didn't play sports. I don't know. I feel like I apply football lessons to so many aspects of my life. Things as far as like, this is one that I learned in college that it's an Ohio State thing. Going to school in Cleveland, Ohio.
Of course.
But it might not even be an Ohio State thing, but it's like the whole like E plus R equals O formula. I'm sure you've heard of it, right?
I think Eddie said it the other day. Like
yeah, it's like event plus response or reaction, however you want to say it, equals outcome. Right. The event always going to be a constant. Can't change it.
Right.
The response, like you either respond positively,
control your response,
yeah. and that's going to directly impact your outcome. And that's a lesson I learned in football, applied directly in football. So many situations where you could directly apply it to anything in life, your job, a relationship, any other life issue you're dealing with.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of it's perspective, right? And that just really impacts what comes out the other side.
That's like a constant. I think in anything, right? Like you talk about like, I was watching like a Ray Lewis speech where like he just like reemphasized the word effort, and like all you can really control is your effort, right? And like the actions you take in response to something, right? And like a little bit private for me, but I got sober like in 2016, right? Like I had like a bunch of shit happen, and I found my way to a 12-step program, right? And like one of the stuff that they say like a very like common prayer is the serenity prayer, like God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things that I can. So that fits in to what you just said, right? Like. Yep. You can't control like what happens. There's certain things that you like, you can't change, but what you can do is like make an effort, right? So like, in my opinion, the only thing that the only thing that you can life that you can control is only your effort, not even the outcome of your effort.
Yeah, sometimes you try your hardest and you don't get where you want to get. Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, yes, for sure, and that's like something for me when I needed help. Like it was a very quick thing for me to get. I'm like, okay, like that makes sense. Like I'm gonna stop banging my head on the wall,
Yeah.
And like fucking get to work.
Yeah, and it's funny how these topics just kind of keep building on each other. The other thing I was going to mention, which we kind of opened with when you asked me why I wanted to go play college football, I said that at the time, the time that our senior season ended and we got, I was making the decision whether I was going to play. I felt, we failed, right? We didn't get, we didn't win the state championship. We've been working toward this, talking about it, obsessing over it, and we put in the work. We weren't lazy, we weren't all about talk. So anyway. One thing that I learned, I think, in college, my senior year, I had a very similar experience. Was to kind of to appreciate that journey, right? The journey toward working to a common goal or one of your own goals, because along the way you achieve goals that you didn't even really have when you look back at it, right? And so like let's talk my senior year at Belen. The goal was win the state championship. I remember back then ESPN used to like rank. ESPN rivals used to rank some of the toughest districts in the country. We were in the top 3.
Yep.
We made playoffs. We weren't supposed to make playoffs.
Right.
Nobody picked us to beat Northwestern. We beat Northwestern. We smacked the Carroll Cities, the Homesteads. We did what we had to do. Along the way, we defeated a lot of adversity. We lost Frankie Hernandez. We lost Horner.
Yes.
We lost Fonzie.
That's Fonzie too.
We lost a lot of big pieces of our team.
Yeah, and like high character guys too. By the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Super high character guys that really cared, came to play, came to practice, work out. Never had to tell them anything. It was never, oh, where's Frankie? Where's Fonzie? Where's Horner?
Yes.
Those guys are guys you can count on, right? That's a lesson, right? Defeating that adversity, the Northwestern game.
That's
you
like
kidding me?
Paints a perfect picture.
Like 28-7 with a quarter and change to play. But that goes to show not just leadership on the team, but leadership on the coaching staff. I remember I'll never forget. Danny Admire throws an incomplete 2-point conversion to Chico with a minute to play, and I started crying.
Yeah.
That's it. It was our season. And Coach Eddie grabbed him by the shoulder pads and he literally said, "What the fuck you crying? Got 3 timeouts." And I was like, "Oh." All right, yeah, no, we're good.
You're like,
we're good.
Oh
yeah. Boom, stop, timeout. And we know if
shitty punt, fair catch,
free kick. Ugarte pick 6 to seal the deal.
Ugarte. I love Ugarte, bro. Man, God, fucking Ugarte, man. I love you, bro. But it was really hard to teach you how to zone turn. And the first time you did it, you got an interception against Central. He finally did it.
Pick 6, bro. God. Oh, man. Oh, wait. Was it against Central?
No. He got picks against both teams.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
It's really hard to teach you how to zone turn.
He couldn't zone turn. I'm like, dude, you got to look at the quarterback. And then he did it in the game, the first time. And they threw it right to him.
That is awesome. That's right. I forgot about that pick.
Oh, God.
So, I just want to kind of round out that topic,
sure.
which was, I had a similar experience my senior year in college, so my junior year, we go 2-7. It was horrible, least enjoyable time of football in my life. I remember I told my dad, I was like, I'm not doing this. Culture here is just not it.
Yeah, it's different in college.
I'm not used to it, man. I'm not used to this. I'm hurt, dislocating my shoulder multiple times a week. I'm just not doing this anymore. My dad was like, hey, listen, do whatever you want, but you got one more year to put on some pads.
Yeah, bro.
So he's like, just think about it. I'm like, good point, whatever. Met with a few of the seniors. I was like, what are we going to do here? If this is going to be a repeat, I'm telling you guys right now, I'm out. But if we're going to get a group of guys to rally and build a culture here, and a winning culture here, and turn this shit around, I'm in. But I'm not gonna. It's not just gonna be about talk. We're gonna do this. Another situation where we got lucky with a really good group of guys who all bought into something, to flipping a culture and to winning, and to working our asses off, putting our head down. But we hit first spring workout, brought the team together, delivered. Communicated that goal.
Yeah.
Communicated that if you weren't on board, here's the door, no problem. Love you.
Yep.
We'll drink a beer on the weekend, but
Right.
you're not gonna be here working out and screwing up what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And then actually doing it.
Right. Yeah. So, but week 1, lose a heartbreaker in Chicago to one of our biggest rivals. Right. So now that doubt starts creeping in, damn, maybe we're not where we thought we were. go on a 8-game win streak, ranked in the top 25. You know, our goal was to make playoffs, which, you know, D3 is not easy. You got to win your conference. You got to win your conference.
Yeah, got to win your conference.
Or you're not. You know, and we're in a good conference. You know, we had 3 or 4 ranked teams that year. You know, and D3 you got like 300 schools. It's wild.
Yeah.
So not an easy feat, but you know, we get to the conference championship. We get over a hump of the team who whooped our ass the year before. It was, you know, perennially good. School's called Washington and Jefferson, Pennsylvania. We played some school, W&J.
I think I played them my junior year. They're
Probably.
what's the name of their mascot? The
Like the presidents or some shit.
yeah, oh, the Dips, the diplomats, right?
It's some government position.
Yeah, right.
The governors or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, that year, go to the conference championship, dude, up 4 points with like 45 seconds left, about to do it. Heartbreaker. Quarterback fumbles on our own 4-yard line. They score. Dude, I'll never forget. I was like waving at their fans already. And I was crying.
No,
but you know, another situation where like when we lost that game, I was like, we failed. This whole year failure. Like, you know, sitting on that after a few weeks, I was like, man, you know what? Like, we were 2-7 last year. Like, we really turned this thing around, and you know, something to be proud of, and you know, look back at the lessons you learned along the way about, you know, coming together to, you know, with a common goal and really committing to that.
Yeah.
And achieving a lot. And you know what? I've told our head coach this because for some reason our class is one of the only classes who doesn't have, you know, posters of them all over the new facilities. I tell him, like, we reinstated that culture because Case for the next 4 or 5 years did not miss playoffs. I mean, I think
Nice.
I want to say I've been out of school, what, 8 years now? 8 years now, and I think they've made playoffs 6 of those 8 years.
Nice.
Won conference championship like
Yeah.
5 out of the last 8 years.
Nice.
You know, I think they went far. I want to say to the like quarterfinals a few years ago. And you know, I can confidently say I think I know our class was a catalyst to like building that culture around the young guys, so they knew, all right, what's the expectation they're coming in. You know, again, lucky with classes who came after us to carry that on. But you know, I told you I'd get back to what I told you at the beginning was that I felt we failed, but you know,
Yep.
another sports related lesson that, you know, the journey shows you so much more than the end goal.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, yes, and it's, you know, and like it's, I don't know, like something like that kind of brings me back to something that that my college coach said, right? Coach Dave Dunn. He's the current
No way.
coach at Columbus. Yeah.
I did not know he was your coach at Catholic. Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Coach, you're a madman. I love you, and I hope that you're on the podcast soon. And
He's got to come on. It's
for
non-negotiable.
sure, for sure. So Coach Dunn would always say this to us. He'd always say, "Hey, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse." And I think that kind of like plays to what you said, where it's like, you know, yeah, like you can start a culture, or you can, you know, make a decision to like be good and like and start to like sort of build something, but like if you don't act on that today and build on it today, and on the next day and the next day, like it's not gonna happen, or like you don't even have a chance for it to happen, you know, and then it's like, you know, you're like doing something for the team like that is like something selfless, and I, you know, I think that also has its own sort of like intrinsic benefits, and you know, and I don't know, like it's just there's so many lessons with sports and like in football, and you know, it's like hard to like be away from it and to just be a fan. Like
Yeah.
there's something about it that you want to like give to it and take from it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's real special. So, Yeah, man. Super cool to have you on.
Appreciate it.
You're like, you know, if you want to give like a shameless plug to your law firm, maybe you can get a client out of this. but you came back to Miami. You're in civil practice.
Yep.
At a law firm.
Yeah, our law firm is called High Suarez Melville, hsmpa.com. You can find us. Hope you don't need us, but if you do, we do all sorts of litigation, trial work. We're always trying cases, and we're not afraid to. So
That's right.
Ever need somebody?
That's right.
Check us out.
Same here. If you have a property insurance claim and the insurance company did not pay you or they paid you too little, we'll take your case, and part of our business model is to prepare every single case for trial. The insurance companies know, they know that. The attorneys know that. So because of that, we get awesome settlements. So anyway, man, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, man. No, that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the final product.